Hi everyone, welcome to God's Enchantments. I'm Claire and today we're going to be talking all about ritual anointing, learning how to do it, what does it mean. But first, let's have a little update because if you have been subscribed to my channel for a while and are not just finding me new, you're going to have noticed I've been away from YouTube for about 4 months. Yikes. Things have been very busy. As a lot of you know, I run Goddess Enchantments. Everything that I sell, all the magical tools, I hand create. So the oils, the incenses, the hand poured candles, the hand rolled candles. I write all the ritual for all the Sabbats as well as our subscription boxes. So it has been a busy time. And on top of that, I teach online live interactive courses. So I have just been on a 2-month ritual manifestation course, and in a week I'm about to start the crystal workshop course. So things have been rather hectic. I also have my Facebook group, which is separate from my page. It's a closed community group where people can really have more interaction with me. I go live in that group every single week, at least once a week. So if you do like the content here, and you'd like something a bit more regular, then pop over and join us. I'll put the link in the drop down below under this video. I'm in a lot of places basically, but I'm hoping now to get back to some sort of normal with my YouTube channel, upload more regularly for you all, because I get quite a few messages saying, are you going to upload again? Have you stopped the channel? No, I've just been super busy, but I'm back and hopefully we're going to be able to keep up some regularity here. So today's video, we are going to be talking all about ritual oils and anointing. I get tons of questions of people saying they have either made or purchased a ritual oil, or they have oils at home and they just don't know how to use them. Is there a specific way to anoint a candle? Are they just for candle anointing? What is their purpose basically? So we're going to have a little look at what oils are, but then we're going to go into all the practical ways of how to use them. I'm going to show you different ways to anoint an actual candle, as well as some other tools. So let's get into it. So for today's purposes, I'm going to be using my Beltane oil because that's what I've been bottling tons up of, and I have one right here with me ready. So it's kind of handy. So when we work magically, whatever you name it, if you work ritual, if you work spellcraft, if you set intentions at the new moon and the full moon, whatever you name it, when we do this kind of work, we use magical tools to help layer vibration, to raise energy, and to help us to focus on our intention and to raise energy to then release to the universe to help us manifest our goals basically. So you might start out with a simple natural candle, but then you may think to yourself, okay, no, I'm going to add in some color magic. So you use the appropriate color, therefore adding in the vibration of that color. You then might choose your anointing oil that has essential oils in it in line with your intention and add that to the candle. Once again, layering that vibration, raising energy around your intention. You may then add in other tools such as crystals and herbs and be burning an incense that's in line with your intention. And all of these things layered and added on top of each other create ritual. And then all that energy that you've raised in circle, you release to the universe and set that intention, cast your spell, your ritual, again, however you would like to word it. So ritual oils are basically another tool in the toolbox to add energy and vibration to your working. You always want them to be natural. I use natural like this because technically nothing is natural. Everything has a chemical profile, but we're now living in an age where natural's like a buzzword and people don't really know what natural means compared to everything else. But when I say natural, I mean something that has not been man-made, something that does have its own vibration to it. So for example, fragrance oils. People will say to me, can I use a fragrance oil? Because you can go to like the pound store, if you're in the States, the dollar store, and you can get those like cinnamon fragrance oils for $1 a pound. They are basically a whole mix of chemical profiles, tons of different little chemicals that trick your brain into smelling whatever it's meant to mimic, basically. Even though those individual profiles don't make up the smell at all. If you were to smell the individual bottles of what goes into that fragrance oil, you wouldn't come up with cinnamon. It's only once they go together and it's a reaction in your brain. It's really fascinating, actually. We learned a lot about it when I trained as an aromatherapist. So if that's a rabbit hole you like, jump down that because it is very interesting. But they are man-made, they are chemicals, and they don't have any connection to the plants or whatever it is that they are mimicking. So if you've got a rose fragrance oil, it doesn't hold any connection to the rose plant, to the rose family. So there's no vibration to add. It can also be argued that it actually lowers the vibration of your ritual because it is a chemical profile, because it didn't start off as a high vibration product or thing, that it's not actually adding anything, but it could actually bring the vibration of your ritual down. So you have to think about those kind of things. But by using essential oils, particularly steam distilled, because steam distilled essential oils have not had any chemicals added to them. They're literally distilled by steam from the plant. In your ritual oils, you are adding in their correspondences, their vibration, and have a direct connection between yourself, the oil, and the plant they originated from. So you can work very powerful plant medicine by using essential oils magically. And then you want them to be in a nice base oil. For mine, I use jojoba oil because it has a very long shelf life, whereas almond and grapeseed tend to have 3 to 6 months and then they start to go rancid. Jojoba can last 2 years if stored well. So if you're going to make your own oils, you're definitely going to want to think about your base oil, how much you're going to make of your oil, and how long you want to keep it. Next, I get asked a lot about adding herbs. Now, when you go to my website, you won't see oils with herbs except for the odd occasional one that will say limited edition. And that's because the instant you add herbs to an oil, those herbs and the oil are going to break down and start to go rancid. So you have about 3 to 6 months with an oil with herbs in before you've got rancidness in there. And you may not smell it or even see it to start off with, but the bacteria is in the oil. Some people say, can you add vitamin E to stop that happening with herbs? And the answer is no. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. It can be added to base oils such as jojoba, sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil to help prolong their life and stop the base oil from going rancid. It doesn't prolong it by a huge amount, but it does actually work, and you'll sometimes see it used in natural skincare for those purposes. But with the herbs in there, that vitamin E is not going to do anything for you at all because it is not antimicrobial. So if you're making a herbal-based oil, make a small amount and use that for your ritual or your altar for the few months, but don't keep it for like a year and then be using it because it's going to be pretty germy and rancid in there. So that's kind of what these oils are. It's a concoction of essential oils, usually very carefully planned out recipes that layer the oils, layer the energy, and everything is in line with how they are designed to be used. So for example, this Beltane oil, this can be used for your actual Beltane ritual. So those people that got my kit that got this in, they'll use it for that ritual. But it can also be used for any rituals that are to do with the energy of Beltane and those energies that we work with at that time of year. So don't just think if you've got Sabbath oils sitting around that you can just use them for that one Sabbath ritual, and then they're done and they have to sit there for another year and you have to hope they don't go bad. Keep using your Sabbath oil. One, you can use it for all your rituals between the Sabbath you're at and the next one. But two, you can actually use it further into the year. If you are working with, for example, a Samhain oil, and that oil is very much focused towards calling on the ancestors and the guides and doing that kind of work, you can use that all year round on your ancestors and your guides' altar. It doesn't matter that it says Samhain. So get creative with your oils to make sure that you are using them up. And it also means then you have an excuse to get new oils and have a bigger collection, because it puts a lot of people off when they're like, well, I've got that oil and I only used it once. Make use of your oils. So speaking of that, let's make use of our oil. So I'm going to open this Beltane one. I've not undone it yet, so excuse me. Ooh, that's yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, so let's start with the simpleness of candle magic. So here is a 10 centimeter spell size beeswax candle. If you know me, you know my channel, you're in my group, you know I always recommend using natural candles, whether that be beeswax or vegan alternatives like GMO free, organic soy wax and stuff like that for your magic, because again, it's keeping that vibration pure and we're layering. So you take your candle, whatever it may be. You can do this with any size candle, any shape candle. It could be a candle this size. It could be, let me get another candle. It could be a fatter candle. This one I've actually used, but I grabbed it just to show you as size. Whatever candle you're using. Now, the first thing you need to do is decide, are you calling something in? So are you calling in prosperity and abundance? Are you calling in new love or happiness? That would be something that you're calling in. Or are you trying to remove something or send something away? Are you trying to break a bad habit? Are you trying to stop smoking? Are you trying to shed weight? Are you trying to remove something from your life or space? In which case, then you will be removing. So for calling in, let's actually just anoint this candle. So we're going to do it as if we're calling in. Now, I like to use 3 lots of oil because I like the number 3. It's a very magical number. You can look into number magic if you want. Now, I like these little dropper bottles, but what I don't do is turn it upside down and put big drops on my fingers. And this is where a lot of people, again, come to me troubleshooting, because they're like, my candle exploded, or I lit it, turned my back, looked back, and it had burnt down within 60 seconds, and just the wax was everywhere. It had not burned down cleanly. You don't want to over anoint your candles. Oil is flammable. It's perfectly safe at small amounts to anoint your candles, but you don't want a saturated, damp, or sticky candle. So what I do is I take my bottle and I turn it, and then I turn it back, and then I take again and again, and then if you look, you can see the oil on my fingers, but it's not dripping down my fingers. It's not massive blobs of it. And then I can put that towards, here she goes again. I can rub that between my 3 fingers, so it's on both hands if you want, completely up to you how you do it. Now, we want to call in energy, then we are going to start at the top. And while you're doing this, you will have your intention firmly in mind. So if you want to call in love, if you want to call in prosperity and abundance, you want to be doing this in circle, fully immersed in your intention as you do it, because that is adding energy, it's raising energy, putting your energy into the candle as well as the oil, okay? So we'd start at the top of the candle. You can do this with 1 finger if you prefer. You can do it with 3. It's completely up to you. Don't get stuck on the whole, like, tiny details of things. And you go from the top to the middle of the candle. Turn your candle, top to the middle, top to the middle, and top to the middle. Now, again, you can do this as in the 4 quarters and do it 4 times. you can do it 3. You can really not overthink it at all and just do however many times it takes you to get around the candle. But we have had our intention firmly in mind, picturing it in the third eye and bringing the oil to the center of the candle, calling in whatever it is that we want to call in. Then take your candle from the top and start anointing from the bottom to the middle, turning it, doing the same thing. And you want to turn your candle in a clockwise direction, because clockwise is calling in, anti-clockwise is taking away, okay? So you want to go up all the way round your candle until it's complete. Then anything that's left on your fingers, you can just anoint the bottom a little bit with and anoint the top with, but you won't be left with like sticky, icky hands at all. Especially if you're using a base oil like jojoba that mimics the skin, it will just be like, you know, null and void. And that is your candle anointed. Now bear in mind, it's just as important while anointing to keep your intention there. Now if we wanted to remove something, get rid of a bad habit, then we would start from the middle of our candle and go up and turn in an anti-clockwise direction, this time keeping our intention firmly in mind to remove that or to release it, whatever wording fits with your intention. The same with the bottom, we would go from the middle to the bottom, turning in an anti-clockwise direction, keeping in mind what it is that we want to release or remove. So that's one way of anointing your candle. Now I quite like that way. You can use that by itself, or you can use that with this next method as well to really help raise extra energy, or either or, completely up to you. So let's do another method. I'm gonna take 3 lots of oil, and this time I'm gonna rub it over my hands, okay? And I'm going to take in a deep breath of the oil. You can do that with the first method as well if you want. Just allow those essential oils to help bring your intention to the forefront, to help settle you and to bring you into the present moment. Then you take your candle and you literally roll it between your hands, raising energy with your hands as you do so, and you'll start to feel your hands become tingly, you'll start to feel the air between them become warmer, and you'll start to feel that going into the candle. And again, you will do this while having your intention firmly in your mind as you do it, and you can do that for as long as you feel is necessary to have completely energized your candle. And like I say, you can do that method by itself. You can do it with the first one, you can do any combination thereof, but don't get too stuck on it. That's 2 really easy ways of doing your anointing, but if you don't feel called to either of those and you feel called to do it a different way, experiment with your oils and go with your intuition, because there's no wrong way to do your anointing. These are just 2 ways that I've found really effective over the years and that my students have found really effective, and I often use in the rituals I write for Goddess Enchantments. But go outside that box if you feel called. But the most important thing is having that intention in mind and having an oil that has ingredients that's aligned with that intention. So you end up with a really powerful, you'll be able to feel the heat and the vibration coming off the candle, tool to use in your ritual or your intention setting. So that's the main way we always think of using anointing oils. Now, other ways that you can use them is to anoint other types of tools. If you work divination and you like to use a pendulum, you can take a tiny bit of oil. I'm literally taking 1 drop. I go between 2 fingers, so I have literally a tiny little bit. You can see just a tiny shine. And obviously this would be an oil that is geared towards divination, connecting with your guides, opening your third eye. And then you would take your tool before you start doing any divination, keeping in mind the energies you want to call in, and just anointing that pendulum. And you can do this with your tumble stones. You can do this with your generators. If you're going to do gridding, grab your generator and anoint it. What I like to do is when my grid is all set up and I go round and I activate it with my wand, I then like to take 1 drop of my oil on my finger and go round and activate it with my finger using the oil. Most crystals, as long as they are like quartz based, you can use the jasper family, calcites, things like that. You can rinse if they start to become a little bit sticky, if you're someone who likes to do very regular anointing. But for the most part, I find things don't really get too sticky because I do use such a tiny amount. And because it is those pure essential oils in there, because it's in a very natural base oil and it's been charged up and it's ready to go, you need such a small amount because we are working with energy and vibration. It's not about quantity. You just need the smallest little bit. Now, another thing you can do with your oils is take a lovely bowl. This is a beautiful selenite bowl, and you can actually pour your oil into your bowl if you're going to be doing a lot of anointing. Now, another way to use protection type oils is to actually go around your home, take a little bowl, because this is selenite, it's very high vibration, no low vibrations can survive here. So we're adding to that oil, adding to our layers, and you can anoint the corners of all your window sills, you can anoint and window frames, anoint all of your door frames, and go around and do a full house protection inside and out using a little bowl. Of course, you can use any type of little bowl to do that, but that's another way to use your oils. You can also use a tiny amount on your finger to anoint the 4 corners of your altar when you're calling in the 4 directions. You can do the same thing with the elements. So really think outside the box when it comes to your oils. Most things can be cleaned. If you have a beautiful cloth on your altar, then obviously you don't want to get oil on it. But again, I will actually take the oil, rub virtually most of it off. You'll still be able to smell your hand and be able to smell that oil is there. And if you can smell it, its vibration is still present. And that way you can actually touch things like altar cloths that you wouldn't actually want to put oil directly on. You can anoint the end of your wand. You can anoint your charm bags. In fact, I always anoint all of my charm bags. If I'm making protection bottles for the house, then I will anoint the tops of them, anoint corks if you're using corked bottles. You can add the oil, a few drops to a herb mix for a mojo bag, for a car protection or home protection, or a healing or stress bag that you're making. The uses are just so wide when it comes to ritual oils. Another use, I don't think I have one here to show you. Actually, that's a faux pas on the Claire's part. But something I like to do, and I just got these. I wish I'd brought one up, but alas, I was unprepared. I just got these for the website actually, because they are such an important part. I actually have a bracelet one myself, and I found the necklaces for the shop. But if you have those diffuser bracelets or necklaces, when buying them, make sure you don't go for silver or gold. You want to go for stainless steel because the oils will not affect and tarnish the surface then. So get a beautiful stainless steel one. It's also hypoallergenic, so if you are sensitive to metals, chances are you can wear a stainless steel ones. And like the ones I have, they're like Flower of Life lockets, and you undo them. They have a little pad inside. There's 12 different colour ones, so you can choose the colour that fits the ritual working that you're doing, the intention that you're working with. So say you are working to call in prosperity and abundance, and you have done your ritual at home, you've anointed your candle, your altar, your tools, you've done your beautiful ritual on the new moon. Then you can take your ritual anointing oil that you've used and that's now connected to your ritual. Add a few drops of that in your diffuser necklace on a green little pad in there. close the locket and wear that to carry that intention and that energy that you raised in ritual with you. Actually add in the necklace or the bracelet, whatever it is you're using, as part of your ritual. So you add in the oil during the ritual itself in that ritual energy. And it's a way for you to keep continuing that energy stream, a way for you to keep feeding that ritual that you have just done. So that's a really another good way, and they smell nice. Well, most do, depending on the work you're doing. And you'll have a wonderful smell of essential oils with you during the day. So I think that is it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it and it's kind of cleared up a little bit, A, how to anoint candles, and B, some other ways in which you can use them. Oh wait, there was one more thing I wanted to touch on, and that was jar candles. A lot of people say, can I still anoint a jar candle? Now, a lot of jar candles have essential oils in them. But if you still want to add to them, take a little bit of your essential oil, and then if you're calling in, go clockwise around the rim of the jar. And if you are releasing something, go anti-clockwise and add a little bit of oil that way. You can also take your jar and do the roll between the hands method if it's a small jar candle as well. And the same with tea lights. You can still anoint the top of tea lights in whichever direction is appropriate, adding your intention too. Nearly forgot about that. That would have been a faux pas on my part that I'd have remembered after uploading this video. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, and click the bell, because otherwise YouTube won't tell you when a new video has come on the channel. Do check out the links down below in the drop down for my closed Facebook group and the website, and I will be speaking to you very soon. That's it from me. Blessed be.